When we were 8, I was 8, my parents split, and that's eventually how we ended up with my dad. She started drinking really heavily and just completely like dropped the ball. I had 2 alcoholic parents, but this was like the first time I was like truly scared. Like, he's like in my face, and it got to the point that I ended up like having to strip down.
How do you feel about the trank that's on the streets now?
At first, I the addict to me was, kind of all about it, honestly. Like, okay. I drank on the occasion, like...
You're a very pretty young lady. Just glancing at you, looking at you, it doesn't look like you're on drugs.
I appreciate that.
Come on, keep going.
Yeah, he's cornering me in my spot, like in the back. In the dark. The other one is starting to ransack all my belongings. And it was like, I'm pretty like tough, I spent a lot of the time I've been homeless alone because I'm not gonna just settle for anybody, to have company. And I'm not, I don't want a man, to like facilitate a habit either. You know what I mean?
So you don't have to have a guy around you all the time?
No, you know what I mean? I mean, it gets lonely and it gets scary, you know what I mean? Like, but there have been a couple of situations where I'm like, man, I should really back down. Like, I have to remember that I'm not a man. Like, you know what I mean? But not, I stand my ground. But this was like the first time I was like truly scared. Like, he's like in my face, and it got to the point that I ended up like having to strip down to I kept my shorts on, but I ended up taking my bra off, and I was like, see, I don't have your shit, you know? And he was like, stop messing with me, like, you know what I mean? And he's like getting nose to nose with me, and he's a couple inches taller than me. And this guy too, he had kind of showed up out of nowhere. He goes by Detroit, and there was something about him, like I didn't trust, it's bad vibes, for lack of a better term. It's like I did just kind of start a relationship finally. Like, it's been like, almost 2 years since I've entertained anything for real. So I hope that it's not going to end up being worst case scenario, but
well, let's just start from the beginning.
Yeah.
What's your name, age, and where you from?
My name's Desiree. I'm 27, and originally I'm from Connecticut. I was born and raised there. I lived there till I was 14, but I spent about 10 years in Maine before I came down here.
Okay. So what brought you to North Carolina?
Honestly, like the shortest version would be I had 2 alcoholic parents, and like, don't get me wrong, like my dad was my rock, you know what I mean? I have 2 younger sisters, and he did end up with full custody of the 3 of us by the time he was 27, and that went well for so many years. But everything he was going through and trying to at the same time, like, not let that get to him and be what he needed to be and thought he had to be, to be the right father for us. When we were 8, I was 8, my parents split, and that's eventually how we ended up with my dad. She started drinking really heavily and just completely like dropped the ball.
How did that make you feel when your parents split?
I mean, like, it was like at first, it didn't really like click. But then, my mom started neglecting us. We did end up, like, the state started seeing more of what was going on, and my mom's failure to be, what she needed to be. So my dad was awarded custody, and things went really well. Like, he was really my only role model. But his drinking started to get the best of him, and he was fighting with his girlfriend that, he eventually met after about a year or so, and then a year after that moved her in, and we were calling her stepmom. My mom was having visits with us for about 2 years after their separation every Sunday, and then she just disappeared. But honestly, like, I wet the bed until I was about 12, and it was ongoing like embarrassment and like huge struggle for me because I couldn't figure out why. And like my dad was like, you know, I did it too, you know, like blah blah blah, and like my grandmother's like buying 12-year-old like pull-ups, and I'm like, so I gotta wake up in the morning with a full diaper as a 12-year-old? Like, no. But my dad like was like, you can't be peeing on the mattress, like, you know, blah blah blah. Well, 3 days into staying with her after he went to jail, I peed the bed for the last time, and as much as it hurt, you know what I mean, I was like, I have to, you know what I mean, I'm making this choice because I'm tired of waking up in the middle of the night to the fighting. And my dad had actually put his hands on me when I was 12.
Oh, wow.
He did end up like kind of beating me black and blue. I mean, so it was a spanking, yes, but it
was a little rough.
It was way more than that. I mean, he was drunker than I mean, like. So
after high school, what was your life at that point?
So I was working 2 jobs. I got into residential painting when I was about 17, almost 18. My first job I got when I was 17. It was working at a call center, actually.
Okay.
But,
pretty good job.
It was all right. I started in customer service, and like, well, it like kind of drove me nuts. I didn't mind it. I think I've had 2 Google accounts, yeah, because there was that one, but I managed to transfer because I had the same phone at the time, the same image. Over to a different account using my college email.
What type of stuff? You went to college?
And then, so
what college did you go to?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I went to Southern Maine Community College.
Okay.
About the time I was 18, 19, I had been doing residential painting for the better part of my day. And I think it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday I would do that, because Tuesday and Thursday I would go to camp on campus. I had 2 courses. Okay. And then I had another 1 or 2 courses I did online for about 3 years. I was going to...
I'm confused. Where did the drugs come in at? Because you seem like you had a pretty decent upbringing.
So I lost my dad in 2016.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear about that.
They found him on June 1st, 1:15 in the morning. And his 37th birthday would have been June 14th. And so I had, I just got my license, and, you know, my birthday is May 8th, so, you know, I had just turned 18, like, you know, about a month prior. Happened, yeah. He started drinking again, and I started getting phone calls from him about a month or so prior to his passing, where he had never spoken to me like this before, but he was, and it would be like 11 o'clock, midnight, you know. And I mean, I'm trying to drink with my boyfriend at the time, you know what I mean? Like, we're just doing like high school, you know what I mean? But we're outside, his mom's house smoking cigarettes, and I'm like, what's going on? And he was just obviously drunk and like saying horrible, like, my mom was homeless at the time, actually. She'd been homeless for like 5 years. And he was me like, you're gonna end up like just like your mom, you know, fucking homeless in a tent, worthless, like, you're gonna end up in a drug addicted piece. And like, when
how did that make you feel?
I start crying. He, you know, I remember one phone call in particular, he was like, go ahead, good, cry, like, and I mean, it was awful. It got to the point where I blocked his phone number, and then about a day or 2 after that, I felt like just really horrible, you know what I mean, like, basically, like, I was my responsibility to be the adult, and like, so I couldn't, you know, like, react emotionally like that. Like, I felt guilty, and so I unblocked him, but I told him, or I started getting texts, actually. I started getting text messages, the same shit. And so I blocked him again, and I wrote him a letter 2 weeks before he died, and I said, like, I don't want to lose you. Like, I mean, like, I need you in my life, but I can't have you saying this to me, you know.
So what happened to him?
If you want to contact me, I need you to do it by letter, and, you know, ball's in your court. My sister said they saw him read the letter. I never heard back, and I had actually snapped and said something really nasty to him, like, out of, you know, pain, and never got to take that back, you know what I mean? So he had been drinking, and you know, it was, you know, mixed bag of people, you know, saying that he killed himself. I think so what happened is he got really, really drunk one night, got into a fight with baby mama, and then my sister Michaela, and ended up dropping Michaela off and then Tiana off at baby mom's house, and just kind of like telling them all like to fuck off. He had gotten in trouble too, and was in the middle of a serious court case, and had court the morning that they found him dead. He had the breathalyzer taken out of his car like a year prior. But this was like this, so there were like 1 or 2 instances prior where he had gotten really drunk at the bar, and like one time left the police found his vehicle, like just parked on the side of the road, all the windows down, unlocked his wallet, his keys, you know, and he had like, I guess, you know, felt he was too drunk to drive and walked back home, but you know, that was, you know, the case, and he ended up blaming it on my little sister. So, you know, it happens, he drops him off, he's, you know, obviously drunk and like upset. I think what happened is he either like kind of just saw an opportunity to and kept it hot, you know, running through the light, or, you know, as soon as the light changed,
so he got in a car accident?
He gunned it. He used to love to drink and drive, and the on-ramp, he kind of turned himself into like a pinball, and, you know, did a couple of these on either side of the you know, the barrier walls there, totaled the car halfway through the on-ramp, managed to get it over to the right side despite how trashed it was.
Okay.
Gets out, and there was a support beam right there. That wall, it like comes up to about here on me. They said they found him on the side of it's I-84 East with his keys, you know, not too far away from one extended hand, and then his water bottle, you know, from the other. You don't take those things with you when you're gonna kill yourself, you know what I mean? My dad was really athletic, you know, and he's got a history of getting drunk, and you know, he called himself Superman, you know what I mean? And that's one thing he said to them is like, what are y'all gonna do when Superman ain't here anymore? And so that's why people thought he killed himself, but right. I think he was trying to climb down from that support beam. Okay. But I think he fell. He missed and fell because he hit the back of his head on the concrete, one of them blocks, you know, okay, below, and they found him face down, parallel to the fucking highway.
So you feel like that situation is what triggered your addiction?
Well, so the 2 years following that, I actually did probably the best I've ever done, like, because I really, like, didn't, you know, it was really strong in me, the motivation to, you know, not disappoint him. Okay. But my mom in 2018, too, she ended up, I get a call from her sister when I get home from work talking about how long does it take you to get from there to here in Bristol, Connecticut. When I told her it'd be about 4 hours, and I dropped everything and left then, which was about 7 o'clock, so traffic kind of started to slow. She was like, oh, even then the doctor's saying that might not be enough time, like, but you're going to want to get down here because, you know, you got to say goodbye to your mom.
So your mom passed away too?
No, luckily, but she was in the ICU at that point, multi-organ failure on the ventilator, like, had drank herself, like, to the point that, you know.
So you was going through a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what triggered you.
Yeah, I ended up, like, relatively immediately entered a relationship with, actually the guy I started painting with.
Okay.
He's 15 years older than me, and I knew he had been homeless for about 15 years at that point, like, on and off. He's like.
So what drugs did he do?
He was addicted to heroin.
Okay.
That was, you know, and he was.
Are you saying he got you started?
He was like in the throes of, you know, like kind of coming off of it and going back on, and, you know, trying to like ultimately get his life together at that point. He was like 32 when I met him. Some random dude hit me up on Facebook Messenger talking about he's in Massachusetts. There's an hour and a half south of where I was, and he's got, you name it, I got it. He had been telling me about, and
so you left and went.
I mentioned to my boyfriend about this. We're drunk, and he's like, ask him if he's got any dope. And I did, and he's like, yeah. And so sure enough, I mean, like, we got up at 8 o'clock the next morning and drove down there. And, well, we hit the gas station, got some booze first, and then I drove us down there because I had the only car at the time. And we got 2 sticks, which is, you know, 20 grams, because he's saying that he's going to sell the majority of it.
Okay. And so what happened? Did you sell it or did you keep it?
In about 2 weeks, we did 19 grams.
Wow.
He sold more.